What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What You're Gonna Watch. Today, as you would have guessed, is Paddington in Peru. All in all, I gave Paddington a 32.5 out of 36 or a 5.4 out of 6 star rating for one very key thing. Starting with the writing and story, we gave it a 6 out of 6 because it was pretty spot on, as all key movies. The kids were all grown up, Paddington was more settled in, more of a connection, but the family was having some issues, part of the story, which is what made them go to Peru in the first place, which I think was perfectly implemented and how that all happened. It wasn't totally random, totally expected, right in the middle. One of the very nice things that they do in this third movie is keep with Paddington's funny nature, funny loving nature, such as when he has to get his picture taken for his passport in order to go Peru. He does all that funny, he doesn't know how to take that, and of course he makes a mess on the boat when everyone's sleeping, per usual. There are also some other funny key moments and lines between Miss Bird and the nun and how she's trying not to be suspicious, but Miss Bird gets suspicious by how many times she said suspicious, and it's funny every time. So all in all, the writing and story is really good. It has good plot. It's really good, especially the plot twist, which you're so not expecting. Try not to give away spoilers here. The pacing is really good. It's not too slow. It's not too fast. You're not worried about anything. The most important thing is it doesn't make you question things that it doesn't have the answers to. So that's why that got a 6 out of 6. Next up, it's performance, which this hurt a little bit because there was a new actor. So everything about the movie was pretty much amazing, except for one thing, and that's the new actor. The new actor is Emily Mortimer. She's had about 17 nominations plus more wins and nominated for some other things and stuff like that. So she's not a bad actor at all. It's just the fact that at first it just doesn't fit. It feels weird. It doesn't feel like the real Miss Brown. It doesn't feel like the Miss Brown that we've seen in movies 1 and 2. It's interesting, especially due to the switch up now, but it is what it is, I guess. So once you get used to it, it's not too bad. If you're like me and you don't like change very much, especially in a series like this, you're going to have the same issue as I did here. Yeah, so that right there is pretty much the reason it got 2 stars taken off. So even though there is a change in Miss Brown and it is weird at first, it doesn't really ruin the experience as it's not that bad. Plus, the chemistry between Paddington and the rest of the Brown family still feels genuine. It doesn't feel altered in any way. It's still really nice. She's still a really good actor. It's just a different actor that is just hard to come around. And another actor to pick up on that did a really good job. He technically is a new character, but he wasn't in the first or second movies, so it's perfectly fine. That makes sense. But that is going to be the captain to the boat that they have to use to get to Peru. That would either be Hunter Cabot or Caboto. Not 100% sure how to pronounce that, but he makes it funny as well with his attitude and his quest to get the gold, as it's a curse on him, and how he leaves his daughter behind so he could do that, and how he ends up falling off the boat because his daughter's not there. So it all twists into really nice performance, especially for Paddington when he takes over the boat. Okay, next up we have visuals and styles, which I again gave a 6 out of 6 because the place that they're looking for, that the hunter's looking for, the captain and El Dorado are looking for, it's really nice and colorful, it's vibrant, and everyone thinks that it's definitely a place where a lot of gold is, but that is not the case. It would be super cool to live in El Dorado. I would low-key want to live there. And it's got a magical kind of vibe, with not feeling too fake or over the top. The whole family goes in there. So, and even before that, where they find the captain in the boat, where it's docked and all the other people are around, that place also is a really nice setting to be. And it's really detailed as well. But one of the things that I really love is how the style stays the same across all of the movies. The coloring, Paddington's ideal iconic look, that stays the same. Most of the lighting stays the same. An orange in Paddington 1 looks the same as it did in Paddington 3. And it just makes everything kind of come to life. And that consistency also kind of just makes it feel like you're watching one big movie instead of 3 separate movies. And also just Paddington in general, no matter where he is, whether he's in the jungle or back in London, with the blue coat and the red hat, he always pretty much pops anywhere, and it just feels visually right. And the team behind the movies really knew what they were doing and didn't just randomly change stuff because it's a series, as that happens a lot in different series. Okay, so for the emotional impact, we got a 5.5 out of 6, again, because it was a little different with the new actress playing Miss Brown. Like, she did fine and everything, there was no definitely doubt about that, but there was just a little off, since we're so used to the original two. But aside from that, everything else felt the same, and the emotional value is still there. Especially the end, which definitely got a lot more emotional. I feel like almost in every movie, there's just like how they have Paddington's death stare he gives once a movie. There's also one part in a movie that's just extra sad for some reason that makes you want to cry. The last movie, Paddington almost died. This movie, they almost lived without Paddington, as like they thought he was going to choose to stay. So basically what I'm saying is these Paddington movies just have a really good way to sneak up on you. You're enjoying it, vibing, having fun, laughing because Paddington's funny, and then suddenly there's a heartfelt moment that just hits. It makes you want to cry, but you don't because you know it's only temporary. Okay, second to last, we have the entertainment value, which we gave a 6 out of 6, obviously, because it was really easy to get into, and like the first bit was a little bit iffy, and mostly because of the actress. Obviously, again, not because she did bad or anything. It just took a second to adjust. Around the time Paddington got his passport taken, which is, one of his funny moments, is about the time where it really kind of just felt like one of the Paddington movies again. It was just really nice. And there's also a really good mix of action, jokes, and just, Paddington being, cute in his wholesome chaos. And it keeps moving. It's never boring, and it's so easy to rewatch, and you could just put this on and again just for some comfort vibes. But if you started watching Paddington in Peru and you haven't seen the other two, it could be a little bit confusing, but not entirely too confusing. You would kind of know what's going on. You just wouldn't have that background information on like how Paddington got there, why he's kind of things like that. Now this next segment, this almost last segment, is cost versus production, which we gave this a 5 out of 6 because Paddington in Peru had a whopping budget of $90 million, which was way more than the first being $55 million and for the second being $40 million. This movie also made about $165 million in profit, and about $32 million came from the US and Canada, and about $132 million of that came internationally. And critics and fans, they also love this movie as well. It didn't get the best ratings. I think the other two movies were definitely higher rated, but it wasn't too bad. So Rotten Tomato gives it a solid 93% fresh critic score, and Metacritic has it around a 65 out of 100 from critics and a 6.9 out of 10 from users, and IMDb user scores about a 6.9 out of 10. So a few more key things before we wrap this up is this movie actually hit the UK theaters on November 8th, 2024, and then came to the US on February 14th, 2025. And yep, it is confirmed by Digital Spy that there is a fourth Paddington movie in the works. At first, things were a little unsure as Studio Canal CEO I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name, Francois Guynot, said the next movie is expected to come out around 2027 or 2028. So we still have about 2-ish years for that movie to come out. And that's going to come out around Paddington's 70th anniversary. And back in December of 2025, one of the producers for this movie, Rosie Allison, said that the idea of a fourth movie felt a little bit premature because she wasn't sure how this movie was going to do. But as you just heard, they made $165 million in profit, so it definitely did well enough for them to lock it in. So in February of 2025, both the CEO and Deputy CEO confirmed that there will be a Paddington 4, which I'm really excited about this Paddington 4. I just hope they don't throw another curveball at us and change another actor. As far as I've heard, the actor either just didn't want to come back as she felt like her role was already completed, or another things I heard she was dealing with some health issues and so she didn't really want to come back, which that would make sense, of course. And as for the description of the movie real quick, Paddington returns to Peru to visit his beloved Aunt Lucy, who now resides at the home for retired bears. With the Brown family in tow, a thrilling adventure ensues when a mystery plunges them into an unexpected journey. So all in all, the show comes in at about a 5.4, which is really good, and I hope Sally Hawkins, the original actor for Miss Brown, I hope she's doing well, and I hope she just decided not to do the show because it felt complete, although I really don't think this show feels complete without her, but it does make do. Hopefully maybe we can see her in the Paddington 4 movie or something like that. But without further ado, everyone, that is Season 2, Episode 15 of What You're Gonna Watch, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Probably gonna do Ultimatum because the new season's out and I just started watching it and I have some crazy opinions already. And as always, if you guys have any show recommendations you'd like me to review, go ahead and leave them in the comments or go ahead and leave me a little voice note and I'll get to them.